Namaste to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. And this is the Lall Show. We come here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 hours 20 with a rebroadcast at 11 o'clock the following day. And all three programs comes to you every Sunday at 11 a.m., 4 p.m., and 7 p.m. It is Monday, and I'm really excited to introduce you the man of the moment. He has a very great program for you this evening, and we encourage you to call a friend and tell a friend as we continue to fight for a better Guyana. So without further ado, I hand things over to you. Sir, namaste, and the floor is yours.
Namaste, everyone. The telephone number is 622-2222.
Yes.
You can call WhatsApp, it's free. You don't have to spend money. I know things are very hard in this country. I went to Wakenham yesterday and spent all day. Like I said, Wakenham is a place where I was born and raised. A 17-year-old pandit gave me a shock of my life yesterday at the Mariah's Pleasure Band there. I was really taken aback. I was amazed with his Sunday morning religious service. Joshua, this guy is a superb young man. He told the gathering, lack of knowledge, ignorance is a road to disaster. The young pandit spoke about the importance of being truthful, and despite his age, he showed tremendous wisdom and understanding of how the world operates.
That was nice.
He was speaking from a spiritual point of view, and I really enjoyed how he was able to relate the scripture in real life. Hats off to you, Pandit. Mohan Das, Suraj Paul. Hats off to you, brother. I wish you well as you continue to enlighten and teach your community. At age 17, become a Pandit uncle, and having the wisdom to lead a mandir in the way that I saw, I think our president should give this young man an award.
Yep.
Namaste, Pandit, and namaste to all the listeners. Before I get into tonight's program, let me say this very loud and clear. If the government and opposition rush to approve ExxonMobil Ford project without correcting that crooked deal in Liza 1, 2, and 3, which is Payara, that has led to this barefaced, blatant exploitation of our resources, then I start digging your graves. Starvation, stress, and hunger will kill all of us. Uncle, you get robbed once. You get shafted on 2. Uncle, you get fracking on 3. The 4th will put you on life support. Or find another word to describe the 4th project. And if you can't think of one, let me tell you the word. Massive protests. Shut them down and shut them out. We have to and we must get our fair share. Our fair share. Beginning with this 4th project and every other project Exxon wants in this country. Namaste and namaste again. Mahalo means tata, bye-bye. I am gone. I am going on the streets. Anybody ready to join me?
Definitely. Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's a saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you fool me a third time, that is not shame. I am an idiot, a clown. And if you fool me the fourth time with the fourth project, then it is not incompetence. It is downright corruption and skullduggery. And that is exactly what is going on in this land between the leaders of this land and ExxonMobil.
Yep, definitely.
If there's anything I say on this program, Uncle, and you people don't understand or you don't get it clear, please call me and ask me. Please don't be ashamed. There are people who may be just like you, who won't fully get it. So please call me. Shoot the questions. Call me on WhatsApp, 622-2222. It's free. If I had to use a single word to describe what is fundamentally wrong with the government of today, I would use the word fraud. Conmen always find a way out to outsmart you with tricks, auntie. Yes. Last week, Vice President Jagdeo announced that them decide on a contractor for the hydro project to supply electricity to Guyana. This is another Ponzi scheme in the making. Many, many years ago, President Jagdeo wanted to bring this same Amelia Falls hydro project on us, which would have break we neck by now had it not been stopped by the Kaieteur News and the opposition at the time. It was a Ponzi scheme. He and his government was trying to pull on us with the cost of that project, telling us blackout will end and electricity price will cut in half. The amount of trickery and misinformation they give us on that project, I would cry if I have to repeat them all. The price started jump like jumping jack from 450 million US dollar to 650 million, then to 840 million, then to 858 million, then to $1 billion within months. A road was supposed to cost 13 million, end up costing over 40 million US dollar. And to this day, it never finished. That money flip into a man pocket named Fip in Florida. Correct name is Fip Lall. Auntie, you want to hear this? An individual who used to read the newspaper when we were carrying these stories on the project said to me, Glenn, the whole project would have cost less than 300 million US dollar. He tell me, yes, the individual was part of making up the contract deal and said to me, read through the lines, Glenn. An American company who was to build and run the project did hire a Chinese contractor to do the work. Josh?
Yes.
You want to hear something?
Yeah.
The vice president of the American company met up with me in the plane in a line at Trinidad Airport when we were about to change planes to New York. I said this thing, I'm going to repeat it. I told him he looked nice in the Kaieteur News. and we began chatting. He said the project, if the government doesn't approve it quickly, it will go over $1 billion US. I then showed him the Kaieteur News lead story in which he told Guyana the day before through a press conference the project will cost $650 million, and asked him how this thing will reach $1 billion. Time ran out in the line, and I told him we will continue the conversation in the plane to New York. But when I went looking for him in the plane, I couldn't find him. I did see someone way to the back of the plane pulling a blanket over their head. I didn't see him in the plane. I thought he had missed the flight. But when the plane landed at JFK, I saw him in the immigration line. Was he hiding under the blanket from me?
Yes.
You just know when gangsters and con men have tricks up their sleeves for you. You just see it from a distance. It's just that I couldn't see him from the first class to the back of the plane. He covered his head. For this project to kick off, the investors needed full support of the opposition, which the PNC and the AFC said no way to the contract arrangement. And that was the end of that project. Yes, it was the end of the Ponzi scheme Jagdeo and the others were going to pull on us. The world at the time was doing hydro project for $1.5 million per megawatt. And we were rushing ahead to pay $6 million US per megawatt. We have reported extensively on that project. Just Google it, auntie and uncle.
Yes.
Now the same Vice President Barra Jagdeo is back resurrecting this hydro project with a new contract. This time around with different language and different tricks. A few days ago he said the government get a Chinese company to build it and Guyana doesn't have to put any money. Not a blind cent. And how Guyana wouldn't have no risk with the project. He said the people who building it will be using their own money to construct, and then will take all the risk and then sell us electricity at 0.077%. Far cheaper than what we are paying today, 30 cents. Sounds nice. Eh, Bernard? Yeah, man. Everybody would jump on something like that. A man spending your own money, taking your own risk, and selling you electricity far cheaper than what you're paying today. Who wouldn't want that? That's a beautiful deal. That's a lovely deal for a country. From 30 cents to 7.7 cents. Man, that's a lot of money. But here is the trick and con game you guys have to pay keen attention to. The contract, that deal, the arrangement, you got to watch that carefully. Suss it out keenly and ask yourself, is with who? That is something you'll have to keep your eyes on. Uncle, the same contractor which was supposed to build the hydro years ago is the same Chinese company he now gonna bring back to do it all over again. This time around is a different arrangement. Now the Chinese company is not only building it, but them owning it. Them will operate it and then transfer it after 20 years. Our Vice President said it's a boot arrangement. Build, own, operate and transfer.
Keep you in it.
Man, I love this thing, man. Yes, the Chinese will build it, own it, operate it, and then transfer it. I want to give you all a quick background. The Berbice Bridge, that was a boot arrangement. But the money come from government and some private people. Not private people alone. To this date, the private people own it. Them run it. Them getting profits. And the government, yes, we the people who put in the bulk of the money in the project can't see a blind center until now. Way to go, eh? Basically, the bridge working to pay in full the private people pocket. That is how Jagdeo, Ashney Singh and Brasington designed that project. This is one of the most costly bridge in the world. All in the name of, are we making things easy for Babishans? They can cross the bridge in less than 10 minutes. They don't have to join boat and spend hours to get across to Berbice anymore. I went to San Francisco, and there is a bridge called the San Mateo Bridge. It is 8.25 miles long. And guess how much you're paying for cross the bridge, Joshua? 800 Guyana dollar,
Wow.
4 US to cross it.
How much you paying here?
Berbice Bridge. The Berbice Bridge. You're paying 2,000 for a small car. Don't ask me the price for trucks and pickups. You don't want to hear them prices there. I hardly go to Berbice, but whenever I pass the bridge, I say silently, I hope you guys and your families enjoy my money I just paid to cross the bridge with a smile. A smile deep down in my heart with the PPP boot arrangement Jagdeo, Ashney Singh and Brasington put together. Ta-da! This is a type of businesses. This is a type of business deals these financial gurus just put together for Guyana. All in the name of a bridge to cross the Berbice Bridge quickly. And all of you happy, jumping for joy till I see the toll price. The worst part of that boot deal, if the bridge doesn't make enough money that can pay the private people their fat checks. Hear this one, uncle. The tax dollars has to come out from the treasury to pay them.
Wow.
You hear that, Bernard? That is how it is designed. We're still living with that until now. That's the deal them sign on to, and that's the deal we're living with. And when them done make the money after 20 years, them gonna transfer the half-dead, dry, rotten bridge to Guyana. The half-dead, dry up milking cow, I even get back. Let me give you another little example before I get down to this hydro deal. The Marriott Hotel was designed in a similar fashion. Both government and private people put their money. But guess what, Bernard? To this day, the hotel is still working to pay the secret, hidden private investors. Yes, to this day, Jagdeo, Ashney Singh, or Brasington never tell us who are the private investors reaping the hog of the money that the hotel making.
Did the coalition tell us either?
I called, the coalition, if the coalition told us, no. The coalition themselves could not know who are the private players. They could not.
Wow.
Because the way how it was designed through the bank do not give out their clients' information. So even if me go in, you go in, or who go in, and ask them, you can't get that. Only the players who authorize them into the project, them know who's it. Yes, that's a nice question you ask. I had called Ashley Singh and told him I wanted to invest $1,000 just so that I could see the books and know who were the other players. He never talked back to me, and I still got my $1,000 in my pocket. You laugh, right? I went so far to text the president and said, Mr. Ramatar, I want to put in $1,000 into the hotel. And to now I still waiting. He come out of office, the hotel done bill, and me $1,000 still there in my pocket. He never replied, and they were bold. He never replied, and they were bold in seeking private investors. That's why I wanted to put in my $1,000, but I didn't want Glenn as a private investor or anybody not in their group. They had already planned the scheme with who they wanted
Exactly.
in the group.
Yeah, there are
Yes.
50 more hotels or 20, 50 more hotels.
Yeah. This is the type of business deals these financial gurus just put together for Guyana. All in the name of Guyana na got a nice hotel, and we need a nice hotel. And guess what? Every Guyanese, when I go watch it, they're happy. But they don't know. They don't know what is the deal. And the shaft Guyana is getting. They don't know how much money them spending there. Again, uncle, if the hotel don't make money for pay the private people, the fat checks, just like the Barbies Bridge, the treasury will have to step up and pay them. Yes, that is the deal. That's the contract President Jagdeo signed at the time. A man said, money and corruption are running the land. Crooked politicians betraying the working class, pocketing the profits and treating us like sheep. And we are tired of hearing promises that we know will never keep. Yes, we are tired of hearing promises that we know they will never keep. Now, uncle, let's dive into the hydro project, in which Jagdeo said he agreed with his Chinese company to build, own, operate and transfer it after 20 years. He said how we got to pay 7.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Not the 30 cents that we pay now. This is nice. This is beautiful. If you get something cheap, anybody wants that. All of us would save money through light bills. Not true, man?
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But why Guyana can't do that itself? Why the Guyanese people can't do this project by ourselves? Give a few people the opportunity to do it, and we can do it. We don't need nobody to come here and make guaranteed money on such a project.
Exactly.
Let the Guyanese people do it, and I can get people to put together that project. It's no rocket science. We can invest our own money, bring in the same Chinese, pay them a salary, and let them build the hydro, and we can also pay them for run it for us, in which we can make that same guaranteed big money. What do you say, Bernard? Yes. Man, you got to love technology, uncle. Auntie, you got to get up and get to par with today's technology. If not, you're not going to learn and you're not going to get anywhere. Norway, just last week, commissioned a 450-mile cable to England that cost them 1.8 billion US dollar to supply 8 million homes with 1,400 megawatt of electricity. Uncle, that cost works out to 1.3 million US dollar per megawatt. 1.3 million US per megawatt. Them 1,400 megawatt of power is 8.5 times the amount of power Guyana planning to bring from the hydro falls. And if we are to do the maths, bringing a cable to supply Guyana with 165 megawatt from Trinidad, which is 312 miles to Sophia, it will cost Guyana, with no headache, no construction, no Chinese, no boot agreement or loot agreement, 212 million US. You hear me, buddy? A cable from Trinidad to Guyana, if you do the maths, it will cost 212 million US dollar. Hear what is happening in Trinidad right now. They are generating power that them ain't got use for. So they could sell Guyana for maybe less than 3 cents if Lall bargain. If you put these leaders to negotiate, it's going to be 20 cents. You guys know how them does negotiate.
Let's go.
Using the British and Norway distance and figures, we can spend, uncle, 212 million US and bring the same 165 megawatt to Sophia here in Guyana from Trinidad with no boot or looting deal. Trinidad and Tobago is supplying electricity to their citizens, uncle, at 4 cents a kilowatt hour. And they would love to sell Guyana because they have excess. A Trinidad ex-minister, Kevin Ramnarine, recently said a lot of planned projects collapse. So now they have excess power that they don't have use for. Maybe they could give we for 2 cents if we just throw in the cable, like how Norway threw that cable to England. I am sure Trinidad would love to make a dollar on us. And I am betting my last dollar that these leaders will not do that. Although Trinidad would love to supply our electricity needs. That is more efficient, more dependable, more trustworthy than the hydrofall deal. And of course, it will be clean energy. But we financial guru wouldn't want anything like that. Them got them own trick up them sleeves. You really believe that them would allow a Chinese company to come and own a power plant that is going to make billions? Think about that as I go down the road. Think again what is playing out here, uncle. Just keep your head on. Today, the 3 wise men of Guyana, President Ali, Vice President Jagdeo, and Dr. Ashni Singh, have a center spread advertisement in all the newspapers with their photographs attached to the ad, promoting this deal with the Chinese. President Ali said how cheaper electricity will be supplied. The vice president said Guyana going ahead with an energy mix using solar, wind and hydro. And Ashti Singh said how the merits of the project has been proven long ago. The merits of this project has been proven long ago.
Wow.
All three of them talking about how much Guyana pocket will be reduced. But they are not telling me and you, uncle, how much money we are going to pump into the pockets of the owner or owners. Dr. Singh even went on TV, radio, and internet promoting this deal. Man, this deal got to be sweet for them. Yes. Again, let me ask, you think the Chinese is the owner? Ta-da! If you got a piece of paper in your hands, uncle, follow me, and you will see why these people promoting and celebrating this project. Here the kind of money the Chinese are guaranteed to make from Guyana with this project. Them say the Amelia Falls project will guarantee 165 megawatt, which is 165,000 kilowatt of power. The vice president and the finance minister say how GPL will pay 7.7 cents for every kilowatt guaranteed at the hydro project, not what is received at Sophia. Let me repeat this thing. The finance minister and the vice president say they will pay 7.7 cents per kilowatt from the Hydro Falls project, not what is received at Sophia. Paying 7 cents for what is guaranteed at the falls, not what we're receiving, uncle. I want y'all remember that, because I am going to come back to it. This piece is very, very important. 7.7 cents for that 165 megawatt works out to 12,766 US dollar per hour. You hear me, Bernard? Which is 306,000 US dollar a day. Yes. That means we will pay in 1 year US 112 million. You hear me clearly, Bernard? US 112 million per year. GPL will have to pay the Chinese what them say own the hydro. What them say will own the hydro. Let's go down a little further. At the end of the 20 years, GPL will have to pay, Bernard, 2.236 billion US dollars on that project. That's the kind of money the Chinese will be recovering from Guyana. By hook or by crook, you gotta pay that. Uncle, the 236 alone, not the 2 billion, can run an electric cable from TT to Sophia, and we will pay 2 cents per kilowatt, which would be the cheapest in the region. Plus we would have saved the 1.6 billion for the 20 years. You know how much 1.6 billion US can do for a country, Josh? It's already more than half we debt we have. We debt.
Plus the budget.
And it's 3/4 we budget, 1 year budget. But that's not the kind of deals they want for Guyana, uncle. They are interested in filling the Chinese pockets, so them say, or so they want us to believe.
Example. 10 billion.
You know, when they say Republic Bank Trinidad was putting in money into the Marriott Hotel, all Guyana believe at first. But when we at the Kaieteur News investigate, we realize that the bank was just fronting and still fronting to this day for the private players. The players guaranteed to be paid first. If not, they take over the hotel. You guys seeing any similarities in this hydro deal? Bernard?
Definitely.
Let me ask this man. Why would the president, the vice president, and the financial guru Ashley Singh doing full page advertisement promoting this project? If a man say he will supply you with electricity, then you don't have to spend money to promote somebody else's project. It's very simple and clear. That's the people's business. All you got to stick by is the price you agree to pay the man. But you guys have to read through the lines. Y'all have to understand. Y'all got to open your nose to smell a dead rat when it's next to you. You got to look what they're pushing down your throat by telling you is a Chinese ownership. Who on earth would give a Chinese company what investing maybe less than 300 million to make 112 million a year for the next 20 years? Man, somebody help me with the maths, man. Spending 300 million US to get 112 million US a year for 20 years? Man, any cake shop owner want them kind of deals. Any market vendor would snatch on to that. Man, I want to be that man. I want to be the Chinese man. But like I said, my naming and get there, even if I got a penny to invest. Remember, I tell y'all, don't forget something earlier. Guyana is paying for every megawatt guaranteed at the hydro falls, not when it meets a fire. The previous American company had told Guyana that we will lose no less than 14% of the power generated by the time it meets a fire, which is 23 megawatt. Guyana would have been loosed out. The government ain't tell us yet how much we gonna lose out before it meets a fire that we have to pay for. Just think about that. You paying, uncle, for mango and grapes from the fields, not at the market. That's a beautiful way to do business, said Bernard. You know what the government and opposition also not telling us? GPL still got to always be on standby. So they got to always keep maintaining it. Do you know the cost for maintaining them old systems, uncle? Them old generators that GPL got? If I tell you all the cost, If I tell you all the cost the government will be throwing on us every year, you might run for your pressure tablet right now. So I will not give you that. Auntie, just like the Borby's Bridge and the Marriott Hotel, if the customers' payments is not enough for any given month, then taxpayer dollars have to chip in to pay the Chinese their full amount on this hydro project. You hear that, man? So all the projects them, the company, our country, our Guyana gurus is guaranteeing payment. Would you allow a Chinese company to come and make government guarantee money at a rate beyond the world of business? Who are the real players behind this deal? Mr. Ali, Mr. Harmon, Mr. VP, Dr. Ashley Singh? Hey, the Chinese? You mean to God, you guys love the Chinese more than we Guyanese? That is what you are trying to tell us? No, man. I gotta do better than that. Yes. If Norway can do it with their neighbor, England, why we can't do it with we neighbor, in which we can get a far, far better deal? Just think about that, Guyana, and read through the lines what is going on. Whose pocket they're really lining with your money and your livelihoods? And ask yourself if these leaders really, really looking out for you or got your best interests at heart. Let me end this hydro story with what Suriname, our right-hand neighbor, paying for electricity. You wouldn't believe this. Uncle and auntie, you might not believe this. We Suriname neighbor on the right hand side only paying 2 cents, 2 TWO, 2 cents per kilowatt. At least it is half than Trinidad 4 cents. When I told my friend in Suriname that we are about to pay 7.7 cents per kilowatt, he said, my God, Glenn, someone in Guyana gonna making a lot money. Oh man, the man like me can't speak good English or write good English. Someone in Guyana gonna make a lot of money. That was his reply to me. That same man told me Suriname paying $12,000 a day for the supply boats, while Guyana paying $55,000 a day, work or no work. Trinidad 4 cents, Suriname 2 cents, Guyana 7.7 cents. President Ali, Vice President Jagdeo, and Ashley Singh doing 2-page ad in all the newspapers praising this project. I wonder why they're praising it. Is Chinese gonna make the money? Ta-da! Mahalo! Bye-bye! Ta-da! Mahalo is a way they greet you in Hawaii. The second best greetings after namaste is aloha, meaning welcome. And mahalo at Hawaii means bye-bye, tata, I love you. I love you, Guyana. Now let's turn to another power project, the gas to shore one. This one is a bigger deal in the making. This one already got me with 1 foot in the grave. if it go through. If it go through, just jump in. Don't wait for anybody push you in. This one started off in which David Patterson from the coalition said it going to cost Guyana about 4 or 500 million US. Then the PPP took over, and by the time you blink 2 times, it reached 900 million US dollar. Uncle and auntie, y'all better don't sleep tonight, because by the time you wake up, it gonna pass $1 billion American dollars. I made it funny for you to laugh, Uncle, but this is extremely serious business, because President Ali, Vice President Jagdeo, and the opposition leader Harman, plus Ashney Singh and Brasington, are all taking us down a dangerous pathway with this project. The main reason for this one, both governments tell the nation, is to give us electricity at half the price. So now you got the Chinese supplying GPL with all the electricity the country currently using, but then you're going and build another plant to generate 250 megawatt that you're putting into the same GPL grid that are already overloaded. Does that make sense? Man. You can only eat a plate of food. Them are going to give you 2 more plates of food in your belly. The vice president said how them installing triple the demand, because them expect to demand, they expect the demand of electricity to double in 5 years. To this day, he ain't say how this demand gonna increase, especially when more and more businesses and homes going solar. Them putting 80 million US from Norway to build solar farms. Them installing small hydro plants at every place you could think about. Here, there, and everywhere. Man, they even say they're putting in 30,000 solar panel units for the hinterland homes. So let me ask the government and the opposition, where they're pushing all this extra power? Where are they going to push this extra power from the gas to shore? In which they're going to indebt not just us, but generations to come. Uncle, this is the biggest Ponzi scheme the region will ever see. Mark my words. US 900 million to basically generate 250 million, uncle, will cost Guyana 3.6 million American dollars per megawatt, when the world is paying 1.5 per megawatt. You don't hear what I was telling you, man. The 250 megawatt power they're going to bring from the gas to shore. Not from the Amelia Falls, from the gas to shore. Them said 900 million. When you do the price, it's 3.6 million per megawatt, when the world will pay 1.5 for hydro. The world is paying 1 million per megawatt for solar. You hear me? Man, this is a beautiful country. And this is the right way these guys doing business. Doing business not for Guyana. Business for them and them friends. What I say is the Chinese friends. Ta-da, uncle. Did I say namaste, man? I just forget, you know. Namaste again, uncle and auntie. They keep telling me how much we're going to benefit with these projects. but they're not telling us how much the other side people benefiting from these projects. More to come on this topic. Please stay tuned. I will be revisiting these things more down the road. Let's go on to something else. Saturday, I felt a story out of the newspapers that a reporter wanted to write. I felt very offended. I felt very insulted and humiliated about the story. Lo and behold, all three the newspapers carried that story. The Stabrook News carried the story on their front page of the Sunday paper. I just want you to listen to the story, and you just tell me if I was right or wrong with a telephone call that I throw the story out. This is the story. The Dutch company that is building RMFPSO out there, them ships that's storing the oil, the general manager, a white man named Francesco Pazzo, came here posing with the Nari CEO, Mr. Jainarayan Singh, and two others, throwing 68 million Guyana dollar at us. Say it will help us we plant some mangroves from Trass Bay to Buxton. This is the company that is making billions of US on Guyana with those floating ships. Come here offering a pittance, crumbs, to look like a goody boy, to show how much they care and love Guyana and its people, with 68 million Guyana dollar, 300,000 US. 6 supply boat, 6 trip with the supply boat is more than 300,000 US. What was even more sickening was the fact that the white man said how 500 homes in the 2 villages will benefit, and that how people will get jobs to plant the mangroves. These people taking your clothes off with those costs for those ships and come here to disrespect us with a few pennies, and these clowns ready to stretch open their foot and hand to collect it. I told my staff, if this is not an insult to us as a people, then I don't know what is. Now, listen to me carefully. I am not upset with the Stabrook News or the rest of the newspapers. I just want you guys to know, when people do not understand insults, when they don't understand what is the difference between humiliation and news, honestly, I show a few people the same front page of the Stabrook News and asked them to read it. And they were like, wow, $68 million? 68 million Guyana dollar? That's the reason why I threw it out. I don't believe that Guyana wants to, any one of you wants to even see that or read that.
Exactly.
Josh?
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's not even $1 million.
Yeah. On Sunday, we carried a story that got me very worried for Guyana and its people. It was about what ExxonMobil said in respect to insurance for the Ford project. They're hoping the PPP, APNU and the AFC will approve overnight. In the project document they submit to the government of Guyana, this is what they said about insurance and I quote, joint insurance coverage is obtained in the name of EEPGL and the other Stabrook Block co-ventures for the appropriate lines of coverage, depending on how the subject and scope of the work. Specifically for the Yellowtail project, the co-ventures have insurance coverage including third-party liability and the cost of regaining control of the well. I try to understand it. I don't know if you understand it, but the way how they word it, auntie and uncle, it's confusing. Exxon is telling us that EEPGL, a local company, Exxon register here, and then two other partners who is also registered here, obtain insurance for the appropriate lines of coverage, depending on the project and the scope of the work for this fourth project. Telling us, uncle, that they have insurance coverage including third-party liability and the cost of regaining control of a well. We got to repeat this piece. And the cost of regaining control of a well. Dr. Singh, Ashley Singh might have to correct me. He may have to correct me here if I am wrong, because he's the insurance guru. What Exxon, Hess, and Sinnock is saying there, uncle, is that they are responsible for the consequences of a well blowout. That cost them will bear to continue pump oil to fill their pockets. And when it comes to taking care of the damages to us, the region and so on, them have insurance for the appropriate lines of coverage. What that means? What that means, PPP, AFC or AFC, Lall don't know. Is it that they will decide what is the appropriate lines they will pay for? Or maybe through the $2 insurance policy them took out for Guyana? I don't know. And if we are to sue them, uncle, here is one. They have nothing but a few Guyana dollars in their account here in this country. That's all they have. It's the same jiggery-puggery game with fancy words and fancy languages all over again. With Lisa 1, 2, and 3. Yes. We don't have full cover insurance for them. And now they are putting it in writing that you are not fully covered when a blow job happens. At no time did ExxonMobil committed in this fourth project full cover insurance. At no time did they accept that as the parent company they will be responsible for paying above and beyond what the small insurance, the little insurance they give us. None time they did that. We are on our own when an oil spill occurs. All they're saying there is that they are ensuring that there is insurance coverage, including third-party liability. Well, uncle, I was advised that pollution liability is not normally excluded from third-party liability. I don't know if you get me clear. I was advised that pollution liability is normally excluded from third-party liability. So it means that Guyana should not take that lightly and that Guyana should fix that. Exxon insurance policy, Ashley Singh, according to Ashley Singh, he says so it's supposed to be submitted to the Bank of Guyana because they are the regulator and supervisor of the insurance industry in Guyana. I will call the Bank of Guyana to find out if they get it. And this is a question for all the leaders. Is the policies being done legally through a registered Guyana insurer or a Guyana broker in compliance with the Insurance Act of 2016? Over to you, Mr. Guru. Let me give you all a simple example what a third-party liability insurance cover is all about, Uncle. Let's say a well blew out and it destroyed a passing vessel, a boat, or a plane above and kill all the people and destroy the boat or the plane. They will pay the people according to the insurance coverage. And that is not full cover insurance. The companies that are registered here, the oil companies, are all limited liability companies, Uncle. What a limited liability company can pay? Limited cash. That's all they can pay. Because they have no assets. That is the predicament we are in. And they are rushing ahead with this fourth project. Let me end by saying I felt very happy that a member of the coalition, Roysdale Ford, has finally decided to speak out on what is taking place in this land as a member of the opposition. In an article published in the Kaieteur News yesterday, he said Jagdeo failing to audit. He said Jagdeo failing to audit Exxon 10 billion cost for Liza 1 and 2 projects is a dereliction of duty and calls for an independent investigation on their failure to carry out the checks on that 10 billion US. He went on to admonish Mr. Jagdeo for trying to pass the blame on the people of Guyana, lacking the skills to carry out the checks. He said it's a shame that the Vice President would degrade the auditors of this country by saying publicly that we don't have the skills to audit. And in tomorrow's newspaper, he again commented, in which he said the money we could have saved on doing the audit could pay all the public servants' taxes for 56 years. That is what he believes. Guyana get cheated out of that $10 billion. But Glenn Lall believes we get cheated double the public servant salaries for 66 years. I said that Friday. But you got to hear this part. And this is what I want to end with. While he busy admonishing Vice President Jagdeo for failing to audit the 10 billion US, he is not telling the Guyanese people that the coalition government started this giveaway in 2015 by not checking the first 460 million US dollars thrown at us as pre-expiration cost. And then another 500 million thrown at us in 2017, bringing the total to 900 million US dollar, almost 1 billion. This is the kind of thing these politicians have been doing for the last 30 years in this country. Passing blame from one to the other. With that, Uncle, I say good night and God bless. Until Wednesday, same time, same place. Bring out the neighbors, bring out a friend. Tell them to listen to the man who don't complain. He's just pointing out what you need to know.
Yes.
Bring on the calls, Josh.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Call
Lall,
and say something.
for your presentation. And let me just remind you that you can call us this evening on 226-7453 and 226-7454. And you can also WhatsApp or SMS us on 622-2222. You can also call us on WhatsApp as well. We have a call on the line, 226-7453 and 226-7454. If persons in studio would like to make a contribution, they are also free to do
Miss
so.
Harris, you heard that? Roysdale Ford, complaining,
He's admonishing
you know,
people.
admonishing
The absolute
the
audacity.
acting, the vice president, how they're not doing the right thing, and how an investigation should be launched.
I wonder where these people crawl out of the woodworks from. I really do, because this has been going on for months. Why is it that we're only hearing from him now? Just to say that. Someone says here, the VP, Mr. Jagdeo, told this nation that they will have to live within their means because the oil money is not yet coming in. With 3 projects already on stream, being Liza 1, Liza 2, and Payara, which is not yet beneficial to the Guyanese people, why is the government allowing the Yellowtail project to go on stream?
That's a beautiful question.
Yes.
That's a question I've been asking and I have been preaching, that none one of us should allow to go ahead unless it is corrected, unless we use it to claw back some billions that we would have lost out on Liza 1, 2, and 3. Nobody should allow that. Everybody should get out into the streets.
Yes.
I know I'll be getting out into the streets.
Yes.
And I only hope you guys there with me to support me. If not, if I head into the streets and you guys doesn't come on board, in which I am making this thing so clear to you guys, then, man, I pack in my bag and go live in Suriname.
Someone wanted to find out what the difference is between the full coverage insurance and this, third-party insurance that we purportedly have.
Lovely, lovely. That's a beautiful question. I myself get confused with this, with this thing. Full cover insurance means full cover. You are covered, everything is covered, and you have no worries. ExxonMobil does not want to give us full cover insurance because they know when an oil well break out there, all the money they will be making out of the oil will have to go back to fix it. Like I said on many programs, British Petroleum BP spill in the Gulf of Mexico, they have spent already 68 billion American dollars to clean up, and they are still spending. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So ExxonMobil does not want to take on that responsibility, and that's a responsibility we should have first and foremost. Nothing is more important than that. Not even if we get 50% royalty and we 50 profit sharing, and more important than full cover insurance. These little third party and little small insurance they're giving us will barely be able to clean up 1 or 2 boats that pass around that will be affected. Not Guyana, not Trinidad, not nobody else. That's how simple I can put it.
Can I say something, Glenn?
Yes.
Very simply, full coverage insurance costs a lot of money. Like,
Exactly.
basic insurance you carry is maybe $20,000. Full coverage costs $100 something or $200 something
Exactly.
thousand. And Exxon already said that they are not gonna that they want to go the cheap way. They're gonna throw away the produced water. They're gonna dispose of the produced water into our ocean, polluting our oceans. So they will always go the cheaper way. So why would they pay full coverage insurance for us poor black people? They don't give a damn about us. The same way they're polluting our water by throwing their produced water into the thing. They don't care about us to protect us by paying for full coverage insurance.
Had we had full cover insurance, the fishing industry,
Yes.
they would have had to pay all Guyana for that damage, for that destruction.
Yes.
Every Guyanese should have been paid for that. The fishermen, they and their families could have been living like kings and queens. Don't even have to worry about going back out there. But we have insurance to cover us with nothing.
Yes.
With nothing. But you see how they were quick to point out that the well blowout will be their responsibility. Yes, they're ready to fix back that tomorrow morning.
Yes.
To begin pumping
Exactly.
to fill their bank account
Yes.
and their family life. Not we.
Meanwhile,
But merely when the spill reaches other shores, we're gonna have to pay for that damages.
Exactly. Exactly. What happened to the telephone calls?
You have a call?
Or GT&T cut off the phone call. Cut off the lines.
Caller, good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
You guys can call on WhatsApp too, man. 622-2222.
Good evening, Mr. Lall.
Right, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir.
I would just like to fill in a little space that I think you left out when you mentioned the insurance.
Thank you, I need help.
The little space that I would like Guyana to remember is that the little boat that passing, or the ship that passing, or the airplane that falling out of the sky with all the people that the insurance is going to pay. Whoever sues Exxon to pay those bills, we are the ones that is paying that lawsuit. I hope Guyana remember that.
Wow.
Whatever expenses Exxon faces in issues that might arise, especially a blowout and stuff like that, we are the ones paying that lawsuit.
Yes, I agree with you. That's true.
So so I'm trying to fill a space when you said that the insurance will be paying that. No.
Thank you so much.
We paying it. It's we, the Guyanese people, paying that lawsuit. Because Exxon, all they're doing is drilling and taking it away. They don't have expenses on any kind of liability in this country towards the people or any nation that is attached to Guyana, like Venezuela and Trinidad and all that. We paying it.
Thank you so much,
So
my
just
friend.
to fill in that space, that little thing, I want Guyana to remember the expenses they're going through is we going to be faced with it, not Exxon.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Good night, Mr.
Good night, good night. Thank you,
Listening to
thank you.
intently every night.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
sir. Hold for me a moment, sir. Hold for me. Hold for me. The gentleman raised a beautiful point there.
yes.
Right?
He understands
Yes,
the
he understands.
contract.
Yeah, but let me make it a little broader. Every lawsuit, if we take Exxon to court and they hire lawyers, our oil money paying for that.
Yes, it comes from Profit
Yes.
Oil.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You're live.
I have two contributions to make.
Yes.
My first contribution is that how are we going to get the government of the day to do what they ought to do in terms of all the public investment to benefit the Guyanese people? And secondly, I would like to tell you that in 2018, before the local government election, the PPP had wanted to raise the bridge, not the PPP, the bridge company, 4,000 yards across, and the coalition stopped them. Because we cannot continue like this, sir. I want to commend you for enlightening Guyanese and to bring us to issues that we don't know. You've been doing a very good job. I want
Thank
to
you.
commend you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But my question to you, how are we going to get the government of the day to comply and to do the things they ought to do to benefit Guyanese people rather than to bring burden and to bring loan to not to
Hold for me.
generation, but to
Hold.
generation to come.
Hold for me.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to, at this stage, right? I don't want to blame the government alone. I am blaming all the political leaders of this land, because the silence of the APNU and AFC, you have to bring them in. They are all elected or selected leaders of this land, and they are too silent. So the only way to bring about this change that I'm talking about is the boots on the ground. If not, we will be getting their boots in our sleep. All right?
Yeah, I want to agree with you that it's not only the government of the day, but also the opposition, because they had started this deal, this oil deal, and they has not been putting Guyanese up front, but they had something. There's a sinister plan in this whole thing.
Exactly. But
There's a sinister plan.
but whether the opposition was part of it or not, their silence today
Exactly. Speaks volumes.
cannot just be brushed aside.
Or sweep under the carpet. Yep.
We have to bring them.
I agree with you that you cannot only hold the PPP accountable.
Exactly. We have to call them out all.
Right. Because remember they had started the deal with the oil company when they were in government.
Well, it's the coalition signed the Exxon contract, man.
Blame game.
Yes.
It's a blame game.
Yes, the PPP signed. 1 second. The PPP signed, and then them just go and move it from 1 to 2. And is proud to say we move on from 1 with the PPP they agreed to 2. when I hear these people, when I remember these people, that's why I am bald. I pull out all the hair from my head.
I quoted you today that people go to the restaurants and ask for dog food, but ask for a spoon.
Yes.
And I told the guy, people feed dog with spoon. Right? So I said, when you give the dog food, do you feed the dog with a spoon? Nobody feed dog with spoon.
They're eating the food, my brother.
Right. So I make it a little clear here.
Thank you.
But Mr. Lall, I wish to commend you. And
Thank you.
we have to actually advance our approach to this thing, because apparently we have to diversify our effort in getting more the government and the opposition to be more accountable for the Guyanese people, because we already have $3 billion debt, US dollars. Then all the projects that they name there are loans. Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
When Jack Joe said that by year end they're going to get about $500-something million from the oil, but none of those money will not go to people's pocket recommended by Clive Thomas, but will go for social services. So what are we doing?
Thank you, sir.
And I understand they're not asking a loan to pay the public servant.
Yes, thank you. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me.
Guys, when you call, keep the praises out and let's get going with the subject matter, please. Time is of the essence.
Caller, good evening and
Yeah.
welcome to the Glenn Lall Show. Hello.
Hi,
Go right ahead.
Hello. Oh, we seem to lose.
Six.
hello, Mr. Lall?
Yes,
Hi,
go right
sir.
ahead.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'd like to make an attempt to answer the caller's question about what should we do. We got to realize one thing. We have no opposition. The opposition, which is purportedly supposed to be the PNC APNU, does not even have a leader. They don't even know where their asses to the tails to the mouth is. So there is no opposition as far as political. What we have is the people. The people out here is the opposition. And just as you rightfully said, if the caller was listening intently, you mentioned coming out. You was asking the staff and directly all of us to come out and talk and protest this whole thing about Exxon. That is what the answer, I think, should be to the call as far as to what we must do. There's the PPP and us.
Yeah,
There's
but
the PPP
sometimes...
and opposition as far as politically the PNC up now. They don't exist anymore. They're doing nothing. Right? It's we who have to go there now and make it known that we the people who has the power that put the PVP as the managers of our business to look after our business appropriately.
Definitely.
If we sit back and don't do nothing, like what's going on,
Yep.
PNC up now ain't gonna do anything because what are you? Who's them? Where are they? Do they exist?
Thank you.
There's nobody but an opposition but us. We, the people, are the opposition.
Yes.
Our interests, and we have to do it.
Exactly.
All the PNC people out there
Yes,
who
you're right.
would
We
have...
vote for them, they have to do what we demand. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. All the party people who will support in APNU now needs to come and join with everybody else who got all the different types of parties going on.
Exactly.
And be one and say, look, man, PPP, we want this thing changed.
Yeah.
You understand? We can't depend on Harmon or whoever not, or whoever's going to go in there to say, well, we got the opposition now, let me do something. They haven't been doing anything and they don't know what to do. You know, so we got to understand, Guyana got to understand, this is a clear-cut situation where the party, the ruling government has a free-for-all right now, without an opposition to contest what they must do, what they must not do, how much money they must take, how much money they must, how they must spend it, or anything. They just take, spend wantonly, however they want. No, who's going to say anything? It is us who have to say. Not PNC, not APNU, not AFC. They don't exist. So it's we, and it's we now against the PVP. That's what people need to start understanding.
I hear you clearly, brother.
There
I hear
is
you
no
clearly.
opposition in this country. So just to try to answer what he might have wanted to know, all those in the diaspora and all of them have to join with us now and make this thing change. Because at the end of the day, when it changes, all of them in the diaspora want to come back and get a bite of it. No sense they're sitting out there and thinking, okay, who they won't gonna punish, we there he good. So what happened? You know, they need to come and help and be part of the opposition that is supposed to challenge this thing as we, the people who has the power.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, caller.
I hear you, man. I hear you loud and clear. Our foot, our feet, all the feet, brown, black, yellow, green, purple, all our feet needs to hit the road. That's the only solution to a good life for all of us
And our children.
and our children and the future generations.
Yes.
You know, I have said it many times and I hate repeating these things. The leaders are all wrapped up under the same blanket with the oil people. You know, and unless we get out there and bring about our change, we will turn worse than many of the Asian and African oil nations.
Yep.
So you guys gotta get up, stand up, and let's take it on.
Anyone want to call? Yes.
Take the call.
Caller, good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
Good night. I listened to the program all night and, from Wednesday, and Friday.
Thank you.
But I would like to compliment you in your job well done. But I will say, this is why I say this. The opposition is no opposition. The opposition is not strong. They're very weak this time. There's no confidence in them.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What I will say, because when you mentioned Harmon, he just looking like they're just there, you know.
They're just there.
They're
They're just there or they're just dead?
or just dead. It's just like they're dead in the eyes of the people. And every 5 months, I've got some Congress some Congress to change the leadership. Now they got a man and Van Charles coming against this woman or Amna Ali. It is the wrong move. They show they got a lot of fighting within them. As to the AFC, is Ali coach, Ali so coach, cockroach, crabs, like I said.
Oh, no, as you 1 second you call Van Charles' name, you might not believe this. I forget to tell you guys that Van Charles won 10 million judgment against Kaieteur News just a few days ago. I think it was Friday.
You want it?
Look, I just forgot. I'm gonna give you guys the detail Wednesday, man. Oh gosh, I forget.
Okay.
How did I forget this?
I compliment the job you're doing is very good in educating the Guyanese people.
Thank you, brother.
Probably also keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. How did I forget that? Huh? Another $10 million. Kaieteur got to pay Van Charles. Wow. Wednesday I'm going to give you guys the rundown on it.
Please.
Any more calls? I love this land, man. I love this land. I love these
The
people.
wickedest ones find themselves on the court steps and in front of the judges.
Man.
Every week.
Mhm.
Good for them.
Yep, Brassington win 30 something. Van Charles win 10. Wow. I will have to open an account, a charitable account soon.
Is the President Granger suing again with kidnapping and doing
Plus David Granger sue.
That's all they
He's-
know to do.
you know,
People
David Granger
that's
sue.
complain about the corruption and skullduggery. They run to sue.
we can't sue the government for doing their corruption scholarity, but they can sue.
Yes.
They can sue you.
Yes. You can't sue government officials. But them can sue you. Open your mouth and say do this and say do that. This is why sometimes you got to be really careful, what you say and how you say it. Because you get a lawsuit.
Yep.
And then they tell you got to pay. You hurt the people's feelings.
They don't have feelings, these people. They can't have
Wow.
feelings.
Any more calls? Or you guys sleep away on me? Well, if you guys sleep away on me,
Seems so.
just stay well. Have a good night. And don't forget, we gotta get going as a people, as one people, one nation with one destiny. We should not be looking at party. We should not be looking at color. We should not be looking at race. If we are to get something from our resources, we got to stand up and we got to fight it. Our leaders will not fight for us.
Say it again.
So, God bless and have a good night.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana.